Welcome into Picks and Parlays, Bettors Edge. We've got Week 18. We've got 2 Saturday games here, Pony. I think you already know who I'm rocking with today. I rode with the Steelers at the beginning of the season, no matter how bad that hurt, and I'm going to go ahead and end with them at the end of the season, put all my chips there, because if I was willing to ride with them in the beginning, I'll go ahead and bite the bullet and ride it till the end. It's also a division game against the Ravens, who have looked fantastic, but I don't anticipate the Ravens playing a lot of key guys in this matchup, and so therefore these games are always close. The Steelers beat the Ravens at their best somehow earlier this season, so though the Ravens progressively got a lot better, it doesn't matter against the Steelers. For some reason, the Steelers somehow find a way to win at times over the Ravens. So I'll explain where I want to go with this, but the Steelers right now, a 3.5-point favorite. I've seen this line move around at that 4 number as well. Are you riding with Mason Rudolph in this Steelers offense?
I thought you were going to surprise me and have like a purple and black shirt underneath that sweatshirt.
I think I'd get kicked out of Pittsburgh if that was the case.
That would have been crazy. I am taking him. You know, this comes down to, for me, one team being all in to win and the other team being at best half in. And so if you go back to last year, Week 18, there were 5 games where a team decided that they had locked up their spot in their seed and didn't want to play to win. Those teams went 0-5, and they lost, I believe the number was, by an average of 13 points.
I like that stat.
They're losing, and they're losing big. And so Mason Rudolph has played great. I think that even though the Ravens are great when they play preseason games, that's how they're going to treat this one. The Steelers are no stranger to Tyler Huntley and what he does off the bench for the Ravens. So, yeah, I think Baltimore plays it very close to the vest, very vanilla game. If they get Lamar Jackson any reps, it's going to be one series and out of there. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers minus 3.5. That line's not going to go to 3 or lower because then everybody's just going to pound the Steelers, and I'm someone that's still willing to lay the hook there and take them minus 3.5.
I am too. I'll take them at 3.5. And this isn't like a homer pick either. I know I'm riding with the Steelers, but I rode hard for the Ravens the past 2 weeks and it paid off.
Yes, you have.
I really have, and it paid off.
Especially the San Francisco game, you get extra credit for.
Exactly. So I'm not going to sit here and say that this is a complete homer pick because I have liked the Ravens way better than I didn't pick the Steelers 2 weeks ago, and I was still with the Ravens. So in this one, I'm going to say the Steelers at 3.5. For a lot of reasons, I'll add on to this. This might be the first time we've seen the Steelers play non-conservative football. And when you see all these clips come out on social media and how Tomlin has just been saying, no, we're going for it, here's what we're doing, he knows that he was in the hot seat as well. So I like the fact that he's stepping in here, calling the shots, saying George Pickens needs to make plays because anyone with eyes saw that this is how the Steelers offense needed to operate. Now we're seeing it actually play out that way. So I'm confident in what this team can do. And like you said, there might be a benefit to the fact that Lamar Jackson has been hurt against them historically because they know what a Ravens team without him looks like and how to beat them in that situation. Moving forward to the Texans and the Colts. The Colts are a 1.5-point underdog at home. This is sort of a toss-up game here, and it's a bigger one in Week 18 as it's a win-and-in situation on the line. If you remember earlier this season, Anthony Richardson went down against the Texans as well. So this is a bit of a revenge game here.
Well, isn't this your best bet game?
This is, but it's a best prop bet. So okay. I'll get to that.
Well, I'm saying don't try to downplay the prop bet, though. You can make just as much money in a prop bet as you can a spread bet.
I will, yeah.
So you're going to make me wait
there.
for it.
I'm going to make you wait.
Okay. I like Indianapolis on the money line to win the game outright here. I know Stroud coming back for Houston last week changes the dynamic of that team 100%. They're way different with him than they are with their backup quarterbacks. Jonathan Taylor's coming off his best game in a Colts uniform this year. He went for almost 100 yards, was very involved in the passing game too. Gardner Minshew had 2 throws over 50 yards. He's won his last 2 games at home. I think he's coming off his best game, too, just from having watched that game against the Raiders. And let's not shortchange the Raiders' defense, what they did to Kansas City and what they've done with Antonio Pierce since he took over as head coach. So I don't think that what the Colts did offensively against them should be poo-pooed in this game. So a little bit surprised that Houston is the favorite even especially with what you mentioned happened in week 2 this year. We've already seen this matchup play out one time. I'm taking the Colts to win and get to the playoffs.
I have the Colts money line too. Look at that.
Okay, but that's obviously not the thing you feel the best about.
It's not the thing I feel the best about, but one of the things I would say was if you're making any type of parlays or things like that, put the Colts money line on there. And for reasons that Pony had just said, Gardner Minshew just has to play mistake-free football, and the Colts have to establish the run. One, they can do that because Jonathan Taylor's back, and two, Minshew can play mistake-free football and throw the ball against a Texans team that's surrendering the 7th most passing yards in the NFL right now. So two things that the Colts can do well: they can throw the ball and play a clean game, and they can establish the run. And for those two reasons alone, I think that that's why they're going to win this game straight up. I would take the Colts in this one. My best bet is going to be looking at Michael Pittman Jr. over 6.5 receptions, and the reason for that is the last 2 games, 7 receptions, 5 receptions, and I think that's what this game's being based on. But those were against teams like the Raiders and the Steelers, who have decent defenses and can shut down those types of receivers and how they're used in situations. Before that, he was being targeted the previous 4 or 5 games, double digits in those games. So I think in this situation where the last 2 games were lower, but then you look before that and you're kind of puzzled because he had so many targets, that this number could have been a lot higher had one of those games even hit maybe a 9 or 10 type of reception mark. So I'm going to say you're going to get this at a good value here. Take Michael Pittman Jr. over 6.5 receptions. I think that's
and lean on your best players in the biggest games. And
Absolutely.
This is a play-in game for
and
both
I think
of
that's
these
what's going to happen. They're going to get aggressive there in times where they have to. I think Jonathan Taylor being a threat opens up those guys even more in these situations. So that's where I'm going with
I'm
this
with you
one.
on that, actually.
All right. I like that.
Thank
Let's
you for
ride
that
with
little
that.
tip.
All right, everyone, this is week 18 of the NFL, the grand finale before playoff action. For more and for what Craig Trapp thinks in our Saturday games as well, head over to that Picks and Parlays app.